Yes. So they did all that, but at the end of the day, after a couple of years, the head of the IT, he has, I think he resigned. He's now in Canada. He's now in Canada, and after a couple of years, they discover that that crime happened at midnight of a particular day. They contacted us, and we quickly made calls to see how we can restrict this money. They made the transfer to 78 accounts in the same bank. Before daybreak, they made the transfer to 78 accounts, and from there they started moving it to other banks. The ones that are still in that particular bank before daybreak, the bank itself, because they are the victim, they are able to restrict that. But the one that has gone out to other banks, we started calling, they themselves, they are calling all those banks. And where we find it a little bit not too okay is that the synergy is not that strong between the banks. This bank A reach out to bank B. We have this happened overnight. Can you please? They gave them this the details of the account that received the money. Can you please hold this? No, we have to contact our customer. We have contacted our customer. Maybe after 2 or 3 hours, the customer said that there's a transaction is expecting so amount of money. Before all those conversations end, the money has moved. And that is how all these monies keep on moving. Okay, after the fact now, the petition comes to us and we have to investigate. We thought, because we put a lot of focus on the individual that have exited the bank and they moved to Canada. We wasted a couple of weeks on that before we finally now discover that he himself is not the person that perpetuated it. All those guys that he brought in to work, to assist in developing the solutions and all that, they have access to the back end. They are not contract staff, they are not nothing. No, he just more or less like a freelance IT expert that he brought in. And these guys, they waited for 2 good years. They relocated to Ghana and they did the job from Ghana. What made us to be able to crack the case is that we started going after, and we are still going after, the people that benefited the transfer, the funds, because they moved it in tranches of 16.6 million to all of them. So we started going after them. So we now have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They have moved 16 million to the gentleman here. He has moved it, part of it, to somebody else. So we started going after everybody. And by the time we are picking them, they will tell us, okay, this is the person that sent the money to me. We went to go and pick them until we got someone that said that it is his uncle that sent the money to him, and the uncle is in Ghana. So we started working on that. We arrested, and he didn't have the address of the person in Ghana. Finally, we arrest another person that also mentioned Ghana. That's how we now knew that, okay, the syndicate seats operate from Ghana. We proceeded to Ghana. And with the help of Interpol, we are able to, out of 5, we are able to get 4. The one that we have not gotten before we moved to, by the time we were in Ghana, after we have arrested 1 or 2, I think information leaked to him and he exited the country. So with the help of immigration, we are able to, thank you. With the help of immigration in Ghana, we are able to determine the country that he went to. Interpol International have issued a red notice, and we are sure that they will finally get him. But the other 4 and all the ones that are arrested in Nigeria, they are presently in court. A lot of them did a plea bargain whereby they return the money. So I can say that we have gotten up to like 75% of the funds back. So that's about cybercrime. But I want the takeaway from there is that we have lapse, a situation whereby someone brought in freelance IT expert to work with him. I believe it's an assignment that his department is supposed to do. Perhaps there is because of the brain drain, the jackpot syndrome. It's possible that maybe some of the people that he needed to do the job are no more available, and he needed maybe have a timeline. They just brought in these guys, they did the job, they deliver perfectly, but they ensure that they have, is it API you call it, a way of entering the network through the back end, and they are able to do what they did. Business email compromise. We investigated this also last year. A professor, a Nigerian professor living in the US, he also is also into real estate as a side also in Nigeria. So he do repatriate his funds to Nigeria, invest in the real estate industry. He has a very good relationship with his account officer, and over the years, what he does is that he will give instruction by way of email to the account officer, who will approve transfer of money to the necessary persons that they are supposed to transfer the money to. Now, in this particular instance, they have hijacked the email. They've been monitoring the conversation, and when he issued the payment advisory by way of email, they alter the accounts to receive the funds. This mail was sent around about closing, toward the closing time of the toward the close of business for that day. And the account officer normally do confirm from the man by way of either phone call or text message to be sure that the mail came from him. But on that day, that email came towards closing. This account officer is a nursing mother, has a child at crèche. She was already rushing to go to the crèche to go and pick her child, so she didn't pay much heed. And she has spoken to the man that same day. They have some other conversation, so she just give instruction, and the transaction went through. Just 2 hours later, she got a call from the man in US to say, I saw a debit of a social amount of money. I think it was 35 million. So immediately, the lady said immediately she received the call and the tone of the man, she knew that something is wrong, that she has goofed. She quickly rushed to us that day, and then we quickly reached out to the bank, and the bank PND the account. But before the account is put on PND, remember, for us to act quickly, there is no way we'll wait until when we get court order. Court order do take nothing less than a week or two, because it's by motion at the Federal High Court. So, but the bank was magnanimous enough to assist us to PND the account. But before they do so, the man has already moved 20 million out. No, the money is 70. He has already moved 20 million out of the account. We place PND on the rest, and we commence investigation. We are able to arrest the man eventually after like a month. And the man happened to be someone that a distributor for Dangote cement. He claimed that someone contacted him on WhatsApp, and the person needed so number of trucks of cement for a construction somewhere, and the person paid him the money. Okay, where is the conversation and all that? He doesn't have. He said he had disappearing messages, and also some of the conversation were on a WhatsApp call. Okay, fine, we believed you. Now, what did you do with the 20 million that have been withdrawn? He said in the evening of that same day, the man in US contacted him and said that, okay, he has another person he needed to pay money to. Please kindly give that person 20 million out of the money, then I will balance the rest before you supply the cement. And he claimed that the man sent someone to him. He took the man to a hotel, and they gave the person USD. You know that something is fishy. It's a lie, but we continue to say, okay, we believe you. Now, do you have any other information as to how we can get the person you gave this money to? He said, no, the person, they met somewhere at Lekki, they drove to a hotel, he handed over the USD. Okay, fine. We release him on bail. We have concluded that he's involved. We decided to charge him to court. We went to court and we get an order against the money, to get the money. Unfortunately, in the course of trial, the matter was charged to court last year, December. Unfortunately, the man passed 2 months ago. That is the suspect. Then, but luckily for us, before he passed, there's something we call dying declaration. He decided to give a dying declaration, and that's why we are now able to get the identity of the people that he worked with. Last week, we are able to finally arrest the person in Gabon through the Interpol. So the person is no more even in the country since it happened. We have a court order now to, the judge has issued a court order for us to for him to forfeit the money in his account. But a development came yesterday whereby, since the man is deceased and the bank are impatient of how long the case will take, they are reaching some kind of agreement between the family and the bank as to how to just settle out of court, but we have done our own part. So that's about business email compromise. Yes, there's another one about forgery. About forgery. In the year 2023, an individual approached a bank with an LPO for LPO financing to the tune of 200 and something thousand naira, a million naira. The bank contacted the company, it's a multinational based in Ibadan, contacted the company in Ibadan to know either the LPO is genuine or not. They have already planted somebody at the procurement department. That person is the one that they put his contact details on the LPO. So that's the same person they contacted. I believe the bank should have maybe make some other independent inquiry through some other means. So they called the person and the person replied their mail and not, and even this on the domain at so they believe that it's genuine. And the person confirmed to them that that LPO is genuine. They went ahead and released money to this individual and it disappeared. So that's about forgery. But luckily enough for us, you know, why I so much love working at SF is that there will always be documentary evidence. You can always trace, especially when the bank cooperates with us. We are able to trace where the money went and who they finally moved the money to. Eventually, though, they moved the money to crypto. We are able to reach out to Binance, and eventually, after a couple of months, we get response that now give us the details of the people involved. The matter is also in court. Now, weak enforcement. This one is very, very interesting. It's very interesting. Last year, a bank, one of the big four, brought a petition to us. A teller at a branch at Ikota was able to make away with 204 million naira. His job is to sell foreign currency, USD, pounds, euro, and all that. Then he sell the remits into the coffers of the bank. He's supposed to be supervised by the cash officer. This teller is a temp, a casual staff. He's a casual staff, a contract staff. I think he's 29-year-old. So he has been working, he has been at that role for like 2 years. Then the cash officer was pregnant. I believe we all know that a pregnancy is not something that is sudden, it is planned. Yes. Okay, sorry, ma. The length, yes. Okay, delivery cannot be sudden. Yes, ma. Thank you for correcting me. So the cash officer is pregnant. She has even put in the necessary request for maternity leave and all that. It has been approved. They waited until this lady went on leave. They now asked the cash officer to be relieving her. So he is doing both his job as a teller and also the cash officer. It means that nobody is supervising him. So what this gentleman is doing is just go pick dollar, pick pounds or whatever, go out there, sell it to BDC, they transfer the money to him, and he does what he likes with it. It will interest you to know that when we commend this investigation, we thought because he's a young guy, okay, let us just recover the money back from him. Don't, you can just, be lenient with him. But lo and behold, the money is gone. He was okay. Then he didn't take the money at once, please. He was taking it little by little and accumulates to that amount that I mentioned. And for that length of time, over 2 months, nobody knew. That's why I tag it as weak enforcement. Nobody knew until one day that somebody, an auditor, just came around and he discovered discrepancies in the record. That's where the alarm blew. The man, he didn't run. He gave himself up. And what just make me to laugh is that at the end of the day, he didn't do anything tangible with that money. He used it for sporty bets. When we now check his betting history on his phone, on each day, the minimum amount of money gambling or betting he does is nothing less than 2.something million on daily basis. And of course, he do win. He has winnings, but as he's winning, he's pumping it back. When we investigated this case last year, the person at the helm of our affair at SFU is a pastor. So he sat him down to see how that this man shouldn't be destroyed and all that. But the only is an addiction, and such a person is allowed to be exposed. We are in court now, and I was in court to give evidence, and I saw the position of the defense counsel, and I was trying to read the judge as well, because the defense counsel, the man didn't plead guilty despite the evidence. They advised him to plead not guilty, and they were now the argument the defense counsel is giving that it is entrapment. Yes, that it was. Yes, entrapment means when you entice somebody to do something that it shouldn't have been exposed to that there is no way it will not be tempted to take the money. So invariably what they are trying to look at is allocutors in order to lessen the punishment. And I was trying to look at it that at the end of the day, the judge may consider that as well, because the age, number one, is a temporary start, and they were trying to make case for the fact that how much is he being paid, and you are allowing him to undo that kind of money. So I think I should bring it to our notice so that we can also consider that. Okay, lastly, I would like to speak to internal connivance. Another bank, a staff of a bank is even the head of the branch somewhere in the east, Anambra. She approached a finance company for proof of funds to Japa. The finance company approved the funds, which is 32 million naira. The money is to be paid into our account. So this finance company, they have account in a particular bank, deposit money bank, and they have an account officer there that they have been working with together, that have been helping them to monitor their transaction. So they had this lady go and open an account in that bank. This lady didn't tell them that that bank is even the bank where she's working. They didn't know. So she just said that, okay, I have an account there. They paid the money there, and they made the mistake of, they didn't write directly to the bank to say, this is what is going on, this account should be restricted to the tune of that 32. No. They just reach out to the account officer and say that, okay, as usual, as we always do, just PND the account. So the lady said that the account officer informed them that this person is a staff, and you cannot lend the account of a staff. I don't know how they convinced that person or not that they lend the account. The money is there. So she's meant to go and apply for visa and all that. When the visa is granted, maybe after she has moved, then they will remove the lien, and they can recover their funds. What this lady did is that on Mondays, there is sit at home in the east. She called somebody in another region to say that she herself is the one that put lien on that account, in order not to that she's saving the money for some things and all that. And then now she has an emergency. A family member has health issue that they need to quickly make payments for. It's a matter of life and death. Can you please help me to leave the lien? We don't go to work on Monday because there is a sit at home. The other lady there removed the lien. And immediately they removed the lien, she moved the money, and she walked away from her job. I was trying to check while I was sitting there to know maybe the remuneration, how much you are being paid as bankers. Because I wonder, even at my level, I don't think I will walk away from my job because of 32 million. But the lady walked away. and she's the head of that particular branch. So the petition was brought to us, and where we commenced investigation. It took us almost a year before we were able to arrest her somewhere in Asaba. She's still very much around. The visa was not granted, so she lost everything. So we are able to finally arrest her. And unfortunately for her now, the lady that lifted the lien have to also be charged together. And the lady said that she just did it out of but I don't know what happened, because the lady that lifted the lien, the account officer said that she put a pop-up. You will understand that she put a pop-up on that this lien should not be removed without contacting her. But she went ahead to leave the lien, and that one gave her statement, and her statement will be read by the judge. There's no way we can now remove that, so we have to charge both of them to court. And it's even a very summary trial. They are both of them convicted within just 3 months, and they are in a Kirikiri female section. So those are I've been able to speak to about 6 instances whereby we have a lot of cases that we are handling, but the one that's no touch on this particular engagement today is the one that I've speak to. So in conclusion, the PSFU will continue to strive to work together with you to ensure that we sanitize the financial system. We will still continue to seek your assistance. Please, when we ask for post-note debit is one very important tool that helps us to preserve the dissipation, or to prevent the dissipation of this money. Most of the time when the money is gone, we have to start running eta-sketa, and it doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, you get the culprit, we charge the culprit to court, but we cannot, there can't be significant restitution. We can't get something back as recovery. So the message from the CP is that you will continue to please accommodate us. Where we have our shortcomings, you point it out to us, and we will always work together with you. I know that this is not a forum whereby we say, okay, when we come to the police, we are not well treated. I think it's only compliance staff that will say that, because they are the ones that always come with account officers. You can see most of the instances, about 2 of the instances that I mentioned today. We have instances whereby some of the bank staff have questions to answer, and we cannot just look away from that. Is it someone that lifted the PND without following procedure that will say we will look away from? We cannot do that. So thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. All that you spoke, we can relate with. That's the truth, because we are the people who investigate these cases, right? We do the internal investigation, and then most of the time, if not all the time, we are the people that also bring the people to you to come and write petition and all that. So please, let's continue to collaborate. There's an appeal I want to make, because I'm also saying it from one of the experiences that we had in my bank. Please, when we ask for report, police report, not try, do and fast, give us. Thank you. Okay, so I know that we're going to have a lot of comments, because this is it resonates with us. So please, how many people want to say one thing? Okay. Just be passing the thing one by one. You see what I mean?
Okay, SPA Itaya Johnson, thank you so very much for this experience sharing. You know, it said that it's better to learn from other people's experience than from your own experience, because you may not be alive to really learn from that your own experience. So we've learned a lot this afternoon from you. My personal pain point in all this fight against fraud has to do with the type of fraud that we seem to be helpless, and police are not able to help us. These days, when customers go online to complain about fraud on their accounts, because online is a public place where any person can go, you see fraudsters directing those gullible customers as if they are representative of the banks, directing them to probably like a WhatsApp or another portal, where because the bank feels that is, the customer feels that is interacting with the bank, of course, is willing to release his credential them for the bank to help. And the bank, the customer's credentials are released and they defraud the customer. Now, especially in the case of WhatsApp, we have the phone numbers of those WhatsApp that were used. We collect those numbers. We send it to police. We send the numbers to, at a point in time, to even DSS, and nothing is done. Then when we try to go directly to the telcos will tell us that they are not under any obligation to release the identity of those numbers, who own those numbers. So there is need for this collaboration between the law enforcement agents and the telcos. For Central Bank, who is our regulator, we have an understanding. When we write to Central Bank, when the MD and CAE writes to Central Bank about blacklisting and all those stuff, they oblige. But the NCC said they are not under obligation to oblige our request. If we can get, because all phone numbers are expected to be registered these days, as long as you did not report that your phone is missing, your number is missing, if we're able to track those guys using those numbers to defraud unsuspecting customers, then we'll go a long way in curtailing fraud. Because once you get those numbers and you ensure that those numbers are blacklisted and those people with those numbers cannot access any phone number again the way we do in the case of BVN, it will go a long way to deter those people, because they are freely using those numbers to defraud people everywhere. Thank you.
Okay, I noticed that the cases that were even mentioned, they mostly end in a nice way in advantage of the banks, but we know we have some very terrible cases. My question is on how to recover funds, stolen funds, when they go into Bitcoin and betting. Is there any hope? Can the SFI...
Is an appeal. We're all here, we're members. When there are issues between us, we should practice what we preach. Let's help ourselves. If we don't, if we want to say, let me talk to my customer, another bank has said this is fraudulent, let's first hold the funds and do the next things thereafter. Rather than say, let me talk to my customer, is when my customer gives me authorization, I can lend that account. Please, if we continue this position, the fraudsters will always laugh to the bank. Please. Thank you.
Yeah. Very, very valid. Very valid. So, oh, sorry. I wanted whether he would make a comment on the second question. Okay, that's fine. Today you have the mic.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, SPA Tayo. I think my comments, and it will be nice if the police can assist in this regard. First is in terms of cyber fraud. I don't know what the police, not just police, maybe EFCC, the LEAs generally, are doing in terms of, ramping up to really understand cyber issues. Because a lot of times when we bring these cases to the police, it's as if they're also very helpless as to how to handle. So I don't know whether there's I know you mentioned a lot of departments, but I don't know how much resources is being pumped in to actually ensure that, the police or the LEAs have a proper grasp of what the cyber fraud is all about, so that you can help us, unravel a lot of things when we bring them to you. The second one is an observation. I notice that the police is always very quick to grant bail. When we bring people, before you say Jack Robbins, they're already granting them bail. We brought them, we know they are the ones involved in the fraud. We know they are the fraudsters. But you say you have questioned them, you have asked them, they have a right of this, they have a right of that. Before you can close your eyes, they've granted them bail, they are walking free on the streets. And the truth is, if you're quick at granting them bail, you will have your reasons, I'm sure. Maybe it's the law and all that backs how long you can hold someone. But my concern has always been, once you let that person out, bail or no bail, he will alert others now. So you will never be able to close that case, because he will alert the main people. So can we exercise a bit of patience with this bail thing? It's always too quick. Then the third one is court order. To get court order now is serious government work. 2-3 weeks, and all of that. I know you said earlier, and I'm aware that it's the courts. Sorry, let me see the person I'm talking to now. I know that you said, you also have to go to courts and all of that. Maybe there's something that, the police can do to also fast track this. I'm not even talking in terms of we, the banks, trying to get a court order to give another bank. But you see that when customers bring cases to you and you're like, okay, go and escalate to the police, bring a court order, so I'll hold these funds for you. The people almost give up that, when is that ever going to happen? Do you understand? So apart from the time it takes, I think it's also too costly for people to afford. So please, can you help us look at this? I don't know how much a court order is, but when you tell people, they'll be like, how much am I looking for that you want me to go and get court order? So can we please just look at this? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add to what Larry said. My name is Omobola, Access Bank. Especially around the issue of the bail, as in how quick it is. I think my own issue is that we've seen instances where you arrest or a fraud happens in your institution, and then you start tracing the people who are involved. And then by the time you even take them to, or you get them, and then you probably take them to the police, or the police eventually arrest them, then you hear, oh, this guy, he was involved in one that happened in another bank, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So I then wonder, so when it happened in another bank 2 years ago, why is this same person still, why is it still not in the prison somewhere? Why did he have an opportunity to do another one? So I know that there are a lot of legal issues. You have to also prosecute and all those details. But I think that in terms of, and I'm not sure if it's only the police, I think it's the whole judiciary system and all, but it's just to know what the police is doing, because I know you meet regularly with the judicial system. You have a lot of people, they've been involved in fraud. They're still the same people who are then doing in, even in the new ones that we're seeing recently. Thank you.
Okay, so I will start from the last question. Yes, we have instances like that, someone that is a perennial fraudster that have maybe hit one bank before, will be discovered that is also a player in the present one. And ladies and gentlemen, there is something called human rights in Nigeria now, and they are taking it very, very serious. It will interest you to know that the amount of garnishee order against law enforcement is not small. You see that our logo, Nigerian police, that where you have that elephant. Elephant has thick skin. So we just have thick skin to absorb a lot of things. When you see the budget, you see how much is allocated to us in trillions and all that, and it's not doing anything, because a lot of things, after taking care of overhead, salaries and all that, they have to pay to service a lot of garnishee orders. due to infringement on a fundamental right of Nigerians. Now, ma, the thing is that if someone is involved in a case of fraud, a criminal, law enforcement, our job is to investigate, establish that allegation, present the matter before a court of competent jurisdiction. If the court decide to grant bail, in fact, we will oppose bail, but the court will exercise discretion, because if the judge look at it that this is bailable, there are cases that are not bailable. All these cases that we handle as special fraud unit, none of them that is not bailable. If all of them are bailable, it is their right under the Constitution. So when the court grant them bail, there's nothing we can do. But what we normally do is that before we charge them to court, we can keep somebody at SFU under detention for 6 months. But what we do is that we go to court and get a court order. We call it remand order. We continue to renew the remand order, especially when we strongly believe that releasing that person on bail will jeopardize the investigation, especially the recovery of the asset. So we continue to keep that person until when we are done, we believe we have gotten all we can, then we now charge to court, because we know eventually when this person is charged to court, the person may spend 6 months, a year in prison under remand. The person will still finally get bail, because it is their right. So please, ma, it is the system, but we will try as much as possible to do our best. Now, when somebody is involved in a case a year ago that they hit a bank, the matter is in court, the court decided to grant bail. During the window of him being on bail, if he be coming from his house for court procedure, he can decide to go and do another one. But only the one that maybe want to be reformed, the experience they have, they will back. But some of them, they are so ardent that they will still go back to their format. So that answers the question from Mrs. Omobola, Access Bank. Then to my, I used to call to my mother. Okay, that we are quick to grant bail. Ma, in my village, they said that when they carry a casket, they are going to burial ground or something. You would think that your mindset, the way you look at it, that the person they are carrying is a log of wood, because it doesn't touch you. But when that person is your relative, you feel the emotion, you cry and all that. Why I said that is that you said that because of where you sit, you see a lot of fraud, you are so that what is going on. But the thing is that the right of every Nigerian is to be granted bail if the case is bailable. At SFU, sometimes when they bring a matter, the suspect, we can decide to grant bail. Sometimes we can decide not to grant bail and get a remand order for that suspect. So we weigh the circumstance. There is something you didn't say that I think is because I'm a Yoruba man, we do reading between the lines. Ma, granting bail, in Nigeria we say bail is free, right? But of course we know that some other things play out depending on the officer that is handling the case. So releasing a suspect on bail is not for any peculiar reason. If that suspect is the fact of the matter, the suspect is supposed to be granted bail and you did not grant bail. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, a DPO was killed in Kano. It went viral that they beat him to death. Why? Somebody died in the cell. And he now made the mistake of taking the corpse to the family. That is against procedure. You are supposed to take the corpse to the hospital. You are not a doctor that will declare that person dead. Let a doctor declare the person dead, deposit the person in the mortuary. Through the official channel, they will contact the family. But you took the body to the family, they went berserk, and they beat him the mob beat him to death. And since that thing happened, they convey a high power meeting in Abuja. From CP and above, all of them were summoned to Abuja, and they were given standing instruction. If a case is bailable and is minor, grant bail. Because a lot of people, due to the hardship in the country now, a lot of people are just walking corpses. A lot of people have one ailment or the other that they are managing. They can't go for medical something. They have reason to die for whatever reason. The person die in police custody. It becomes police problem. I'm coming, sir. So please, ma, it is like that. We will grant bail at the discretion. When we look at it that okay, we should grant bail, we will grant bail. But if we feel that we shouldn't grant bail, we will not. We will continue to hold on to that person. We will just be going to court and be renewing the remand order. Okay, ma, about fast tracking our process of getting a court order. Ma, this matter about 2 years ago was taken to the Lagos State Judiciary, the governor and all that, and we met. There was a courtesy visit and it was discussed. And since that time, they have dedicated courts for us. At the Federal High Court, this judge have been that anytime processes come from SFU, you attend to them as quickly as possible. And the same thing at Ikeja, the State High Court. So when we approach the court, they give us the court order, man. That's why when I need the court order now for some case I'm handling, and I assured the complainant yesterday that in the next a week and a half or two, I will have it. Everything being equal. Because even sometimes the judge will sign the court order in 2 days. Before we get the process, it will be another 1 week. Somebody need to sign this another before they give us the CTC. But the order has been granted a week ago. So those are not the normal bureaucratic something in the court, but the court order being signed by the judge doesn't take time, because once it comes from SFU, they grant us the court order. But some other persons too will do their own and that's where the issue that Madam mentioned about cost. Judges don't collect anything to sign this court order. They don't collect anything, but at times, because our men want to fast track it to get it on time, they have to see 1 or 2 people and all that unreceived. But eventually they get the court. So getting court order is not a problem. We get it as quickly as we can because they do give it to us, man. Yes, about what this question about cyber fraud, that perhaps we don't have requisite knowledge of handling cyber crime. No, man. In fact, you know, the Nigerian police force is big. There are different section, department and all that. What we have a section that is established, well equipped to investigate cyber crime, and that is NPF NCC. Nigeria Police Force National Cyber Crime Center is in Abuja. There is a branch here in Lagos. So, for instance, if I have such a case and I believe that I don't have the requisite knowledge, I'm not competent at handling the matter, what do? We go to NPF NCC and they help us to break the case. They are well funded. They have all there is no money for Nigerian, the IG to have the equipment also at SFU, maybe at Alagbon, Lagos Command. The money involved is small. So what they did is that, okay, let's have one body so that you can pump the money there. They can have what they need, the trainings and all that. And when cases go there, you know, they will solve the problem. But the only thing is that when you have an officer that is an investigator, an IPO that is selfish, you know that this matter you cannot undo it. You continue to keep it to yourself. You just take it to NPF NCC and you will still, because when they are done, they return the case file back to you. You still have the glory at the end of the day. So we have a unit that is dedicated to doing that, and they are doing well, man. They are doing well. Then recovery of funds. Yes, somebody has a question that when these stolen funds goes to Bitcoin, man, when this happen, we do write to them. They give us all the necessary details of the accounts, of the wallets, and be able to get them. But it do take time. No, our court order, before if you serve a court order on you, you will be running etasketa to ensure you obey that court order. But most of these crypto companies, they are not incorporated in Nigeria. So our court order cannot be served on them. So we have to go through a longer route before we get them to comply. But that's why you see, even in the news this morning when I was coming to work, it is in the news. Even politically exposed persons, where do they hide money now? In crypto. Because they know that it will take time before, if it is the normal bank account, it's very easy. Within 2 days, a day, we are already getting certain information. But that one, it takes time. But we always get response at the end of the day. We always get response. I think that yes, and this very important question about certain GSM number being used for fraud, and when you write to the network provider, they didn't answer. Well, we at SFE we have a very robust relationship with NCC. They are just not too far from us there, and we have always been working together. In fact, there was a time we wrote to a GSM provider to furnish us with the details of a particular number, and for whatever reason, for weeks they didn't respond. When we wrote to MPF NCC, within 2 days we got the response. At the end of the day, they were sanctioned. They were sanctioned because they were mandated to answer us, to give all those things to us, and there is no line that is expected to be operating without being linked to NIN. But we have some lines like that we discover in the course of investigation. They allow these lines to operate. They are not linked to NIN, and it become a problem to the network provider. So, we in such an instance, because I know that when we write to them, there's a letter we wrote to Airtel at Banana just 25th of last month. The response has been sitting in my mail for like a week plus. It was yesterday that I saw it. So you can see between 25th of last month and now they have already replied. But it has been in my mail, I didn't know. So just 2 weeks thereabout, they have already responded, and they have given us all the CDR about that and all the necessary details of that person. So in such an instance, I don't know, maybe they are not obliged to respond to the banks. I don't know about that, but I know to law enforcement, they are quick to respond. Yes, you can always go through us. You can always go, because the thing is that we see you as our partner. So anytime you come to us and say, this is what you need, this is what you need, on your behalf we do that and we furnish it to you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, CPA Itayo. Huh? No, let's end it, please. Let's end it. Thank you very much. We'll take from our regulators. We know they're all our partners. So the next person we are going to hear from Insight will be the CBN BSD. That's Mr. David Adelona. He's the Deputy Director of CBN Banking Supervision. We should continue clapping until he reaches here, because now he'll be here.
No problem. If it's possible for me to use less than that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I bring greetings from my director, Dr. Olubukola Akiwumi. I've listened to all the contributions since morning, and I can summarize what we are emphasizing in 3 ways. And the first thing is the adequacy of IT infrastructure in the banking system. Yes, we may be apprehensive about a lot of the innovations going on, fear of the open banking. How adequate is the infrastructure? And remember that in terms of the infrastructure, we still go back to the core banking applications. We saw what happened, was it last year? Yeah, when some banks were actually upgrading and we had a lot of issues. And in trying to arrest that, Central Bank issued blueprint for standardization of our IT. And I remember very well that there was a kind of survey of the sector in terms of the level of the data center, and a lot of us actually responded that our data centers, the IT infrastructure, were tier 3 level. In reviewing some of those responses, sometimes we just laugh. How many of us are actually at tier 3 level? If we are actually at tier 3 level, then we should not be apprehensive the way we are apprehensive today. Or possibly, as auditors, we are not even aware of the level of the IT of the bank. So I would say the starting point is for us to even confirm whatever the IT department is saying that our infrastructure status is about. So a lot of the banks with not up-to-date IT infrastructure definitely are going to struggle, definitely are going to be exposed to cybersecurity issues. The second thing that I've picked is insufficient compliance to regulation. Because the standards are there. It is just for the banks to comply. So the onus is on us as the last man defense to ensure that our bank complies with the requirement. You know, it is always said that Nigerian banking sector is the most regulated in the world. If you want to sneeze, you have to get CBN permission. If you want to wee, you have to get CBN permission. And the reason is because we are always looking for how to change the system. We all know what is required in terms of the standard, let's say for CBA. But the next thing is, how do we maneuver this? We don't want to spend. Somebody raised the issue of a budget earlier on. The budget in terms for internal audits. And I always say it depends on the formation that the bank wants to play. If you want to spend 200 million to purchase a striker, go ahead and purchase a striker of 200 million and buy defenders of 5 million. As you are scoring 5 goals, what will happen? You will be conceding 10 goals. So if banks are placing so much emphasis on trying to get the profit, trying to make money, then they also need to actually defend their back by investing in the internal audit. The one other thing that we also realize is the enforcement of SLA. We've raised issue on the risk of open banking, the risk of APIs. All the third parties that we are getting services from, they've provided SLAs. Are we enforcing those SLAs? But most of the time we try to do, how will I call it now, paddy in the sector. You don't want to report, you don't want to go to court, you don't want to do this. And at the end of the day, it will backfire on us. And as rightly pointed out, open banking is not new. Even in Nigeria, a lot of you have already been doing it. A lot of you have already been exchanging data with the likes of the fintech. And as rightly said, we are talking of market-driven. Central bank is only stepping in to make it mandatory. And earlier somebody asked the question, how many countries are actually even using this open banking? I'm only saying, so that you don't go out there and say, CBN said we should go and do collective joint audits. But when you look at the time, when you look at the costs, what I'm going to go there to go and do is what Access Bank will go there to go and do. That Zenith is going to go there to go and do. So if we collectively have parameter requirements, what we are going to do, then we can all agree, we can have representative of the banks in the committee that will do the audit, or possibly engaging the professionals, the likes of KPMG, PwC, and co, to do the audit for us. So, my parting word is this: cybersecurity risk is real. Open banking is going to throw us into more risk. And Madam said, how ready are we? Thank God for SP Itayo. He has been able to marry 2 major risks. The individual, because at the point we are focusing more on the individual, 1 million missing the account, fraud of 10 million, of 30 million. Ignoring the bigger cyber breaches, when you are talking of 20 billion. The way some of you are not sleeping at night is the way some of us, we don't sleep. You talk of a 12 midnight call. Our settlement account has been hit. How much? 25 billion gone. And that is what we should be more worried about. Exchange of APIs and co-integration of more third parties will open up for all these risks. And we must be ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We must all be ready. That is from our regulator. The next from another regulator, which is the NDIC, will be calling from the Bank Examination Department, Mr. Robert Sekenwa, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have been asked to present my papers in 5 minutes. My paper in 5 minutes. I'm going to make this available, okay, to the Secretariat. I'll just go straight to the highlights of the experience sharing and expectation, as had been requested when we were invited to this August occasion. Just to also state that I am here representing my director, who is unavoidably absent. She sent her greetings, and she also acknowledged, okay, the invite. So I just go straight to the issues here. A lot has been said already, without sounding like a broken record. Okay, there are common issues that have been identified by all the speakers before me, but let me just also touch on the internal audit functions as they relate to the cybersecurity and resilience. What are the expectations from examiner's perspective? We have noted that in the course of our reviews, lack of prioritization of audit risk culture within the banking system, this can directly influence cybersecurity posture and its overall resilience to disruptions. There's also weak compliance that has also been alluded to by my colleague from CBN, with the requirement for fraud profiling and BVN watch listing by chief audit executives of banks. We have also noted that the focus of fraud investigation is usually on funds recovery. However, there is the need to penalize and disincentivize fraudulent actors by limiting their access to the banking system. Inadequate board capacity has also been identified as a challenge. This leads to ineffective oversight of the internal audit function, as it may not fully appreciate the complexity or evolving nature of cyber risks. Inadequate communication to the board is also an issue that has been observed over time. Communication to the board is often limited to issues with financial implications, such as potential losses and procurement. It should be expanded to audit results on critical cybersecurity areas. Weaknesses around auditing the implementation of frameworks adopted by the bank, such as COBIT, NCIT, inadequate communication to the board, has also been identified as challenges. Poor collaboration, with regulators and other banks just like has also been alluded to by our previous and advised to us, that we should encourage, better collaboration amongst us and with regulators. Obsolete end-of-life equipment is also an issue. Okay, obsolete or end-of-life assets increases the inherent risk in the IT environment because they often lack vendor support. In the course of our review, we have identified in certain institutions where IT equipment that have vendors or the suppliers have since stopped supporting that are still in use. Security patches, compatibility with modern systems, these are issues that has also been identified as challenges and has to be looked into. As auditors, as a result, internal auditors must spend more time and resources assessing these assets. Lack of adequate skilled teams for cybersecurity and resilience audits is also an issue that has been identified in the course of our regular reviews. Limited use of technology tools for internal audit reviews. Cybersecurity capital allocation. Here, it's also been spoken to that the banking system is one that is also becoming IT-centric. And we cannot continue to do business the old way and expect a different result. We must upscale our IT, our technology for internal audit reviews. The regulatory expectation is that as banks become increasingly digital, the traditional periodic internal audit approach should give way to the use of technology tools for continuous monitoring. Banks are expected to go beyond regulatory frameworks to adopt audit frameworks such as the COBIT, INSIT, to strengthen their cybersecurity resilience. It is also expected that internal auditors will increase the adoption of predictive analytics and machine learning to identify anomalies and potential vulnerabilities, as well as enhance audit coverage. Internal auditors must remain agile and continuously upskill to keep pace with changing environment. What are the recommendations from here? We are saying internal auditors should pursue continuous upskilling and specialization. The chairman of the association has also alluded to the fact that you have an upcoming training in this regard. That is a right step in the right direction, because like I said, or like it's been also acknowledged, IT is ever evolving, and you can only do as much as your capacity and knowledge, the knowledge and the capacity that you have, the skill that you have. So continuous training and upscaling is not a bus stop, it's a continuous journey. Cybersecurity risk should be treated as an enterprise issue rather than an isolated IT issue. There should be coordination between risk compliance and internal audit. These are two functions that are interrelated, and they should work hand in hand to ensure alignment in interpretation of standards and regulatory frameworks. This provides holistic and consistent assurance over cybersecurity risk. Finally, we need to ensure that any risk acceptance decision, are documented, justified, approved at appropriate governance levels. We need to verify that compensating controls or risk mitigation plans are in place and tracked to completion. Internal auditors should embrace a forward-looking and dynamic audit posture, especially in the review of cyber resilience. In conclusion, we must all embrace the fact that cyber threats is an issue of when and not if, and therefore improve on the focus on cyber resilience. Auditors are uniquely positioned to independently review their operations, provide assurance, and communicate to the decision-making body at the highest level. They must leverage this strength to create a secure and resilient financial ecosystem that safeguards its assets and promotes confidence in the financial system. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roberts. It's a matter of when. But we say long margin. Let it not happen. Yes, so let it not happen, because it's just loss of value in to the hands of criminals. We don't want that to happen. So the last insight will be taken will be from representative of EFCC, the EFCC head of operations. I will be calling Sheun Korede, Mr. Sheun Korede, to give us some words. Please, let's clap. Oh. I know we've also been sitting for quite a while now. So after this, we'll decide what to do with our legs. Okay, thank you. Please, just
5 minutes. Okay. Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm not the head of operation. In fact, we don't have head of operation again in the EFCC. My name is CSE Sheun Oluwakorede. I'm the sectional head cybercrime, EFCC Zonal Directorate 1, Awolowo. And I'm here on behalf of my zonal director. That's the CE, Michael Izekwe, is a commander of the EFCC, who is unavoidably absent. All protocols duly observed, and I've heard a lot that has been said, trying for us to, mix our minds together and look at the best way in which we can protect ourselves, the institutions, protect our customers, and then beat these criminals. But I want to just dwell on a few questions. I want us to think deep and look at it. Maybe we're actually doing it, or maybe we just feel like it is not necessary. And sometimes where you do not look into, that is where the problem is. Where you feel like there's nothing there, there's no need for you to actually look into this side, that is where the problem is. Now, I want us to have at the back of our mindset that we, the auditors, we are the EFCC of the banks. We are the EFCC of the banks, and the first thing that you should look at is do not mind when the staff of the bank, when they hate you. That is your calling. That is your job. It is not. Now, I will explain why. You are meant, because you are the final level of the protection or the security of the banks. You are the final level. If they pass through you, that's the end. Now, if you have a kind of rapport, a kind of relationship, maybe you believe so much in your colleague, you trust that colleague, you don't know what that colleague has in store for you. You don't know the plan of the colleague. You do not know. Maybe he's working in the bank. Maybe he has connection with the fraudsters outside. Maybe he's the spy inside the bank, but he's your friend, and you trust him so much. You may lose guard, and eventually you don't know what you will be giving out through the relationship that you have with that person. Therefore, it is necessary that you create a gap, you create a line while you are at work, while you are carrying out your duty. It is necessary, no matter how close. Even if you guys are married, it is important that you create that line to save your organization. Now, I want us to look at some questions in which I will be citing some examples as well. Now, my first question here that will be thrown at us is, do we have a system in place to check those who are in charge of our cyber security, or do we trust them very well that we just leave everything to them? Do you have a system? Is there a way you check them? Or when they are employed, over time, you have built that trust in them, and then you just leave them and they continue to work. You don't try to check on them. When you do that, there are some people that will say, your own is too much now. Why are you checking on this guy? He's been with us 2 years. It's enough for us to trust him now. There was a transaction that about $100 million was involved, and he was there and nothing happened, so you can trust him. Is that what we do? I'll cite an example. There was a bank, I'm sure probably the bank is here, that brought a matter to us a few years ago. And maybe the only reason why that bank is still standing today is because the guy was greedy. I mean, the fraudster, an insider, he works with the bank. Now, the guy wanted to move $34 million out of the bank. Now, unfortunately, the bank does not have up to that. That was the only saving grace. So maybe if he had asked for $20 million, he would have been able to move that money. So when he was requesting for $34 million from the bank's partners abroad, the MD there had to call the MDA and say, you are asking us to move $34 million to a country like North Korea or whatever. Where do you have the money? You don't have that kind of money with us. And so the MD was alarmed and said, move which money? We didn't ask you to do anything like, which money, please? That was how they started their internal investigation. And they discovered that it was that guy that was working with them. He was in their IT department. But then there were so many lapses. They had so much trust in him. He could come in and go out and do anything he likes at anytime he likes. So, well, the head of internal audit in the bank had to go because she was blamed, for not doing what she needed to do. Like, you're supposed to be a watchman, in these institutions. So my question is, do we have that system in place to check or to mitigate against insiders doing this? Because most of the time you see that there is always an insider. I'll give you another example which is of recent. I'm sure the bank is also here. There's a lady that was working with the bank. Now, the lady needed money to Japa. She needed money to leave the country. And so she partnered with ACAS outside, within Nigeria. And then whatever they need, she provides the information. Whatever they need, she provides the information until they were able to move money out of the bank. What I feel is most of the time we are always reactive. We are not proactive. We are always reactive. When you employ people, we just allow them to work, come to work and go. Do you know them? Do you know the challenges they have? Financial challenges, whatever challenges, do you know maybe they are under any threat outside, which requires them to provide money that there's no way they can get these funds unless they are involved in any fraud. And it's going to affect your bank. They don't have information of other banks. It's still the bank that they are working that it will affect. So do you have this knowledge of your staff? To fight against cyber threat, it's the responsibility of every individual working in an institution. But the truth is that who oversees them? It is the auditors. Now, are you doing what you are supposed to do? Now, I ask a question. Are you proactive enough to detect connivance between those in the cyber security department and other departments? Are you proactive enough to see their movements? Their relationship. Are you proactive, or you just feel like we are colleagues? It's normal. Sometimes normal is not normal until it happens to you. That's when you say, and I was noticing, but then you are reacting now. You are not proactive enough to have nipped it in the bud. So it is the duty. It is our duty. Or is it that we are very relaxed now and we feel like let everything be going until that attack comes? That's when we start moving up and down, we start sweating, we start closing late. It doesn't have to get to that. We can always be ahead of them. It is our responsibilities to be ahead of these criminals as auditors. It is. Then another thing I want to ask us is, these people that have our information, we know now that data is the new gold. All right. Those days, many years ago, you have gold stored in banks and whatever. Then of recent, you have cash stored in banks. And for armed robbers to come and to attack a bank, to move money, takes a lot of hard work, a lot of planning. But today I can be in the comfort of an hotel room, using the free Wi-Fi of an hotel, and then I have an insider in the bank, and I can move as much as $10 million from your bank to a country that the government does not even have an MLAT with. And so for you to be able to recover your funds from that country is either humongous or nearly impossible. Nearly, the money is gone. Because we don't have a relationship with that kind. Which country has a relationship with North Korea? If your money is moved there, who do you call there that will answer you? And then they will wire your money back. It's gone. So these questions are thrown to us for us to ask ourselves these vital questions. Are we actually doing these necessary things before an attack happens? Because an attack will happen. It's not a cause. It will definitely, as long as you are a financial institution, it will happen. It's just like if you are brandishing diamond on your neck, definitely if you are passing through Oshodi, you expect something to happen to you now. That is how banks are. You have money in your bank, definitely somebody wants to take that money because he needs the money. So it is your duty to safeguard your institution. And it's not about you employing 100 mobile men with sophisticated weapons and whatever. No. These days, when was the last time you heard that a bank is busted or whatever? When was the last time? Now, because we have internet, we have easier ways for people to do it. Everybody has access to internet. Maybe to a phone, maybe to a laptop. So it's easier for them to operate than when they are looking for guns to shoot policemen, to attack this person or that. So we must safeguard. We must safeguard our vital information. Now, another question is, people that are working for you, people that have access to sensitive information, sensitive data in your banks, are they well paid? You need to ask yourselves, are you paying them well? There's a Yoruba proverb that says, whoever is going to man your gate, he must eat well. It's just like you are looking for, permit me to say, for instance, the musician Nice. You want to use him as your bouncer, against some hefty men. Definitely you are deceiving yourself. Most of us have seen bouncers and we know how they look. It's not because they wish to look like that. It's because that has to do with their jobs. So now, if you are not paying people that are working for you well, they will be tempted. They will be tempted. I gave you an example of that lady. They approached her, and when they offered her, we will give you 50 million. And that was what she needed. There's no way she can work in the bank the next 5, 6, 10 years that she will be able to save 50 million to leave the country. So they offered her that chance. And then she grabbed it. And they were successful in moving that money out of the bank. So you need to look at people that are working with you, people that have access to your sensitive data. You need to look at their lifestyle. Are some of them not drug addicts? Because when you have people that take drugs, I mean all these dangerous drugs, not paracetamol or Panadol, it requires money for them to maintain that lifestyle. Will their salary be enough? You must be able to identify the lifestyle of people that have access to your sensitive data so that you don't start reacting. You are quickly, you are fast enough to stop it before anything happens. Then again, I want to ask, how well do you train them? Trainings, how well do you train them? How often do you train them? With that, I will ask you, do you even run a test of your cyber security? Do you do something like a penetration test? Like you you looking for somebody to say, okay, try and hack into this system? The person is with you, try and hack. Let us see how defensive or how strong our defensive wall or whatever is. Do you try to do it, or when it is installed, you just believe that it's okay, it's fine, nothing, nobody can penetrate us, we are good to go? And then how often do you run that check as auditors? How often do you run the check? Every month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? How often do you run the check to see that the security that you have put in place is still watertight and that nobody can penetrate? So, in conclusion, I will say that these questions are there to raise our awareness and to measure our preparedness for any attack that may come. Like I said earlier, it will definitely, it will come. It will. But then, are we ready for it? It is yours to answer. It is mine to try and ginger you and let you know where you need to look at. But it is yours to answer and then, react by trying to make some efforts to block any loophole that you must have identified. And then, let me quickly chip in this. I want to say that most times our relationship with banks, is frustrating, to say the least. Now, I'll give you an example. A bank brought in a petition to us, and then you told us that about 5 billion was moved out of your bank. Fine. And the internal investigation conducted by the audit department revealed that one of your staff was involved. Now, the question we asked was, where's the staff? And you guys said, we have laid him off now. You should go and help us look for him and arrest him and investigate him. Like, seriously. You identified this staff. There was a process you went through before you laid him off. You could have easily handed him over to us for us to conduct an investigation and see how easy it would have been easy for us to trace and recover your funds for you. But then you laid him off. Maybe after like a month or 2 months, something just came up on somebody's head and said, we're supposed to tell EFCC to help us investigate this guy now. Let's write a petition, another petition to them to help us look for him, arrest him and investigate him. It should not be. When an issue happens, even if you are going to conduct an internal investigation, you should let us know. We are waiting for you. We are ready for you. And so when you are done with your internal investigation, I don't know how long it takes, when you tell us, we know what we are supposed to do. We know what we are supposed to do because you have informed us ahead. It's not when everything is out of your hands and you feel like, we cannot undo this again. Let's go to EFCC. They are miracle workers. They will help us to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, EFCC, they are not miracle workers. So they just need our cooperation. The truth is that we too, when somebody is a rogue, you can't just keep him in the system. So we need a lot of collaboration. That's the truth, to fight this. And then from where I sit, EFCC has been very, very helpful. Thank you very much. Yes, EFCC has been very helpful. But again, he has left us with a lot of questions for us to think about, to ponder about. Are we ready? And then a lot of things for us to check as internal auditors. Unfortunately, he said it's that one. The lady auditor was fired. We can only say God will help us. So, what's the time now? This is 20 minutes to 3. We're in a democracy. So, we have 2 options, colleagues, to either quickly take our lunch and reconvene for our general meeting, the QGM itself, or continue the QGM and then take our lunch afterwards. So, what do we suggest? Lunch. Everybody is lunch. I vote for lunch. So let's go for lunch. 30 minutes. So please, we'll come back 10 minutes past 3. Yeah. It's just there now. Yeah. Yes, we take our lunch and come here to eat it.